Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 17th October 2020. The first article for discussion is A Constitution Pickel of Andhra Kind. This article is related to CM Jagan Mohan Reddy's levied allegations against Supreme Court Judge Mr. Ramana and also AP High Court. In this, certain constitutional matters are there. Let us examine them. The first is Supreme Court and High Courts, these are constitutional courts. High Courts do not function under the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has only judicial control but not administrative control on the High Courts. In this context, Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy's allegation is that AP High Court is being influenced by the Supreme Court Judge Mr. Ramana. Second thing is, the roster of AP High Court is being manipulated to give certain cases to a set of judges. And this set of judges are biased against the government, and running the government has become almost impossible for him. After this, he also levies allegations of corruption against Mr. Ramana and his daughters. In this scenario, remember a point, AP High Court has issued gag orders on investigation into that particular issue. So, is Mr. Reddy trying to blackmail the judicial system to stop further prosecution of his cases? This is what one interpretation is. If judges are being made defensive by levying allegations against them by people in constitutional positions or responsible positions, does it not undermine the independence of judiciary? And second is accountability of judiciary is enough in India? In this context, the author recommends for accountability of judiciary also need to be set. And judicial independence, respect of the judges also has to be protected. So, we need to have a system in place. What are the systems we have discussed before? The appointment of judges has to become more transparent. In this case, National Judicial Appointments Commission was enacted, but judiciary struck it down under judicial review. So, is judicial review dominating other institutions of the government is the first question. And second, National Judicial Standards and Accountability Bill was also introduced in Parliament. We do not know the status of that particular bill. So, the author recommends here there has to be a leadership commission in India, and next is Judicial Ombudsman has to be established. Then we can improve the quality of judiciary, and once we improve the accountability systems of judiciary, these kind of allegations can be well fought. The next article is Hope Amid Uncertainty. This article is written in the context of IMF's recently released report, that is World Economic Outlook. It predicted a shrinkage of 4.4% of output in global economy this year. Originally, it was predicted at 5.2%. Why this revision has happened? The second quarter results of major countries showed dramatic improvement, including India. In this scenario, all is not well. There are challenges still remain. That is what the report also says. In Europe, new infections are emerging. So many of the countries are resorting to partial lockdowns, and this is going to hurt the economy. Second thing, economy has affected labor markets, investment flows, and also goods and services flows across the world. So reviving the economy involves reviving the logistics. Vaccine is not providing any certain date to arrive. In this scenario, what can happen to these predictions, we do not know. Remember, as education is delayed, human capital is also expected to be undermined. Inequalities are increasing within the country and across the countries. What is the way forward? International cooperation and collective action of the countries to fight this economic meltdown. If country starts building walls between them, this is going to affect the economic recovery. Second, the poor and marginalized need support like never before. What is the best way to support them? That is direct cash transfers. Remember these points. In economy, whenever you get a question on anything, one report which you need to quote is IMF's World Economic Outlook report. You can make a statement quoting this report. It brings in legitimacy to your answer. The next article is Valley's Voice. The regional political parties in Jammu and Kashmir, they have brought in Gupkar Declaration and formed People's Alliance to bring back special status to Jammu and Kashmir. In this context, remember few words. Accommodation is important in politics. In 2015, BJP and PDP came to an alliance, and this happened even before. And regional parties in Kashmir also formed the part of the coalition governments at the center. In that context, democracy appears to be taking roots in Kashmir. But later, these regional parties and their leaders are being called as soft separatists. It has brought in great divides between the central government and the regional parties over there. We need to remember one thing. This kind of delegitimizing the regional parties will erode the democratic space. Next point is calling them soft separatists or building political capital on the Kashmiri issue is unwarranted. So the way forward is accommodation and respect has to be there. And finally, by force we cannot win the things for longer. This is the point we need to recollect and remember. The next is far from a happy toy story. You know, Prime Minister Modi in his Mann Ki Baat speech stated that the toy industry is to the tune of 7 lakh crore rupees across the world, and India has a minuscule space in it. So we need to encourage Indian toy industry and the toys diversity of India and the traditional values associated with it will definitely bring back economic recovery and livelihood for these artisans. In this context, the article explores the problems of toy industry in India. What are they? The first is there is no innovation and there is no support from the government, lack of funds, lack of skill development, and then threatening of livelihoods, difficulty in availability of raw material, in influx of cheap Chinese toys. Everything is affecting this particular industry. The next generation people are no more willing to continue in this particular industry. So the toys which are being spoken over here also have GI tags. Channa Patna toys, Eti Koppaka toys, Kondapalli toys, all these have GI tags. So we need to protect the distinctiveness and also diversity of these toys, and we have to provide for proper market connectivity to them to make them survive. Next is MSP is key to India's food security, says Prime Minister. You know, there are fears that MSP will go away. Prime Minister Modi assured the people again that MSP and government procurement are expected and will stay. And second, he also spoke about malnutrition in the country, and early marriages are the reason for this malnutrition. So the age of marriage is expected to be increased. The third most important thing is, for the first time, the girls' gross enrollment ratio in the country has crossed the boys, and dropout of girls from the school also has decreased. These are the positive things we have to note from this article. India fares poorly in hunger index. In your GS paper 2, poverty and hunger, you need to note down this point in your answer sheet. The global hunger index, it reports the levels of poverty, chronic malnutrition, that is stunting, and also wasting, which represents acute malnutrition. India though has improved on stunting but did not improve on wasting. Wasting represents acute malnutrition. India has performed below Pakistan and Bangladesh. India's position is around 94 out of 107 countries in the latest report. You know, that is Sustainable Development Goal 2, which states that zero hunger has to be achieved by 2030. India appears to be not in the race to achieve that particular goal according to this particular index and report. Stubble issue, Justice Lokur students to save NCR. One single man committee by Justice Lokur was appointed to monitor stubble burning to save NCR from this pollution. The special point in this is National Cadet Corps, NSS, National Service Scheme, Bharat Scouts and Guides. The students enrolled in this, they will be monitoring the stubble burning and helping the Lokur committee. It is an innovation, judicial innovation with regard to use of the school children for a collective activity or pollution control measure. So these are the articles for today. Signing off, Dr. Rambabu. Thank you.